at lunch.
You are looking live.
Live at lunch. Live at lunch with Ott and Hanny on 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live? Is it live? Is it live?
From Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. Welcome to the Tuesday edition of Live at Lunch. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. I'm Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott. Jordan Kitchen's back in the studio. It's Tuesday. We do first class, second class, no class. In hour number 2, Andy Isco joins us from Las Vegas, and we got fabulous weather here. So stop by and have lunch with us here at Mike Anderson's. Please do. We're in the Oyster Bar right to the right as you walk into the restaurant. Jimmy, good morning.
Good morning, Charlie.
All right. The couple things happened in the Monday night game that I think are notable. One, everybody's talking about. The other one is just my observation, and we'll see what you think about it. The 41-31 win against Tampa for Baltimore included an injury at the end of the game to Chris Godwin, who is one of the best receivers. He's having a terrific year. He's been a really good receiver for a long time. He's underrated because he is on the other side of Mike Evans, who scored his 100th career touchdown last night. But Godwin's been an excellent receiver for a long time, and he was having a terrific year, maybe his best first 6-7 games of the season. But down 10 points late, under a minute to go, right at a minute to go. He was hit, broke his ankle, and is out for the season. This was after earlier in the game, Mike Evans had what they're calling a severe hamstring pull.
Oh, he re-aggravated.
Yeah, and he was out for this game, obviously, and he's probably going to miss a good bit of time with that. But Godwin's injury was so grotesque that they didn't even show it one time on the replay last night. So the question is, should he have been in the game at that point? Let's do a little context here. Tampa was down 34-10 when Baltimore scored it was early in the fourth quarter. Okay, so it's 34-10. You're down 3 possession game if you hit all 3 of your 2-point conversions, which obviously is not very, very likely. So Tampa gets the ball with 13 and a half minutes to go, and they go on a touchdown drive. It only took them 2 minutes, and they got the 2-point conversion. So it's 34-18 with 11 minutes to go. You're within 16 points with 11 minutes to go. You're fine. Baltimore takes the ball. They go down. They score a touchdown. They took almost 5 minutes off the clock, and they make it 41-18. So you're down still the 3 scores and now at least 2-point conversions. I'm okay. You're still playing ball here with 6.5 minutes to go. You go down and you score in 2 minutes, a little over 2 minutes, and you make the score 41-24, and you're going for 2. This is sort of the where the rubber meets the road for me, Jimmy. If you make the 2-point conversion here with 3:46 and you got all 3 timeouts to go, then you're down 2 scores. Yeah, you can make it there with 2 scores. But the 2-point conversion pass failed, and they're down 17 with 3:46 to go.
The onside kick, you don't get it. Damn, that's done.
That's it. But you did get the onside kick, and so now you're still playing. You go down in a little under 2 minutes. You don't have to use any of the timeouts, and I think that's significant. And you score to make it 41-31, but your next onside kick is not recovered. The Ravens make you take all 3 of your timeouts, 3 and out, so they only take 24 seconds off the clock, and you get the ball at your own 25-yard line with 1:34 to go, and no timeouts left. You're down 10 points. Who's in the game for you at that point?
Mayfield was
in the game. All of the starters were in the game for Tampa at that point, including Godwin, who they have now lost for the season. Without timeouts, having already successfully executed an onside kick. It's only the second one that's been recovered this year. The other one was Dallas-Baltimore. The odds of successfully executing an onside kick are, 2%, 1%. There's not that many of them anymore because you got to declare. I would say your chances in the NFL right now of successfully executing an onside kick, let's just call it under 5%.
That's fine.
Okay, low. You've already done that once, and you don't have the timeouts left to do it.
You got to try.
You have to.
You're down 10.
You're down 10.
I mean, you go down there, you pop one play, kick the field goal. You got maybe a minute to go, and I mean,
so you got to keep playing, and it's not like they had a bunch of wide receivers. I'm trying to go if you go the other way, say, all right, that's it. You're down 2 scores, no timeouts left with 1:34 to go. You got to pull everybody. Well, you can't pull everybody because you don't have 5 backup offensive linemen. And at that point, they'd only dressed 4 receivers for the game, and Evans was out. So they're down to 3 healthy wide receivers. He's almost got to be in the game. I mean, you're going to go out there and run the ball into the line 3 times, down 10 with 1:34 to go. Your chances of winning are really low, but you got a chance. You got a chance. You know, if the onside kick wouldn't have got there after the 2-point conversion, you're down 3 scores. You say, okay, well, we gave it a shot.
Never seen a 40-yard bogus interference call. Stop the clock and give you 40 yards.
I've seen plenty of them.
Okay.
I've seen plenty of them. So I understand the frustration of anybody that says, man, look, you gotta yank everybody, but you're not in a position where you can yank everybody. You don't have 10 offensive linemen. You don't have 3 receivers.
But check the play chart on that drive because Baltimore, what's Baltimore doing right there? They're playing prevent, right?
Yeah,
well, they brought an extra guy.
They actually blitzed on the first play, and they got him, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They brought an extra guy, and they got him. Clock is running, and that's when Joe Buck says, at some point, you just got to live to fight another day. So he's the prophet on this thing. And, I mean, 2-3 plays later, Godwin goes down. I mean, it was
the next play. Right after the sack.
I mean, yeah. And well, I've been slow to warm up to Joe Buck, but Joe Buck over time has become more and more of a knowledgeable football guy. He's a baseball guy, baseball family. I mean, that's his deal. Even though Jack Buck did a lot of Monday Night National Football radio broadcasts. I mean, he's baseball, and Joe Buck is a baseball. St. Louis, really good, but he called it, and it just. See, if you pull your players, and I know the fans can't run a team, but they booing you. You just get out of there. The thing was that Baker wasn't throwing the ball. He wasn't taking as many chances. He was padding stats, man. He was not a guy that is not afraid to throw it into coverage. 2 more key interceptions, which kind of flipped the game.
The one in the end zone, absolutely. Down in the red zone.
The Evans drop, injury, interception. I mean, if they went right down the field, had a touchdown call back, or they up 14-0. And Baltimore's got to improve on defense. It'll be the same old story for Baltimore. I know everybody's on Baltimore's coattails right now, but until they can play some defense in the postseason. Better than this. I mean, Lamar, we know he's struggling. And they got the big boy to run in the cold this year, and he is in good shape. He is in really good shape. But, it's it. You're kind of stuck. He called it. He did. No getting around it. And, I've seen much worse situations where guys are in there. Now, we're talking about the Carolina. So you want to get Bryce Young some time. But then again, Washington is not respecting a run. Are they going to come get him? What does that help to hurt him in that spot? And it's in those spots where they're just getting up the field. And who did they say that used to do it a lot when they would was it
Jimmy Johnson?
Jimmy Johnson. Yes. Jimmy Johnson would Troy Aikman said it.
He did. Yeah.
He said, "Oh, this is what Jimmy brought an extra guy."
Jimmy loved it. Yeah.
Here we go. No, we're not going to just let him methodically go down the field and get back in the game. Yeah.
The second thing about it is that Baltimore, and I felt this way for a couple of weeks. I understand that there's a couple of blemishes on the record, but they are the best team in football, in my opinion. There's nobody that I would take against them on a neutral field. I know they lost to Kansas City by a toenail in the opener. I know they blew a game that they never should have lost to the Raiders of all people at home. I'm going to go ahead and call that a fluke. because when they're rolling, and they have done this before, and I know that you're going to say, well, they've done this in the regular season, and they get to the playoffs, and Lamar doesn't play well. And if they get to the playoffs and Lamar doesn't play well, hey, you can say, well, he's done that before. I don't know how Lamar's going to play in the playoffs. We'll see in a couple of months. But right this second, there's nobody better. And this is without a traditional Ravens defense. They give up way more yards than some of those great Baltimore units that we've seen over the years. But has there, we've seen some great free agent signings over the years. The best two free agent signings in history, Drew Brees and Reggie White. Well, I'm not going to put it in that category after 7 games. But Derrick Henry looks like a Baltimore Raven. Okay, he's the most physical back in the league. He's been the most physical back in the league pretty much since the day he got there. And the Ravens, you think about the Ravens, you think about a physical football team. They always have been. That fits. As long as he's toting the mail, you want to talk about a playoff back? You want to talk about a bad weather back?
And they got away from the run last year in the loss to Kansas City.
Yeah,
and Monken was criticized because of it, and they were a really good rushing team. I'm not so sure about that. I don't want to be the prisoner of the moment. Was this more impressive than going on the road and beating Minnesota?
Detroit is right there, those two quarterbacks are playing the best out of any quarterbacks in the league.
Completely different style quarterbacks.
Yes,
yeah, those are the
the two highest performing quarterbacks in the league right now. I would give Baltimore a small edge, but it's a small edge.
Detroit's got the best offensive line.
They do.
They got the best offensive line. It's with all the Baltimore has. It's like 10 offensive penalties a game.
Yeah,
I mean, they were just overcoming penalties left and look, Tampa Bay hadn't been able to stop much lately, So, and then you got banged up. It completely changes when Evans goes out because they had no answer for them. What not to me. I'm not. Yeah. I can't.
And we don't have to declare a champion today.
No, but I'm. And who cares? Who cares is better because here's the deal. The playoffs. We're sitting at the Beau Rivage on Sunday, and I'm listening to the Detroit table talk about, well, man, so-and-so had us as power ratings. Man, that's college stuff.
Yeah, you can play these.
Yeah, you go play in the playoffs, and you don't care who Stephen A's list or whoever's list. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But I think Detroit is. I know they're going to run the football in the playoffs.
And they've got 2 backs.
They got 2 great backs. Goff is better as his attempts go down. He's more efficient. Their receivers are really good. They're a complete offense. And they suspect on defense at times.
And the loss of Hutchinson is significant.
That adds to it.
He was having a defensive player of the year type of season. So, no, I don't have any problem with Detroit.
I think going on the road and beating undefeated Minnesota played okay. Jumped on them early. Darnold played okay. So that's a tough win, man. And that's a good defense that they went up and down the field on, man. Mm-hmm. That's a really good defense with Flores in Minnesota.
You go get that win on the road in the division against a team that you're going to have to fight. That's really impressive. And for Tampa to lose their top 2 receivers, Tampa's a playoff team almost by default. I mean, because of the division they play in. You got 2 of the 4 teams can't possibly win the division. So it's you and the Falcons, and they play them next week.
The Falcons
they've already beaten them once. So that's what really hurts is that you're going to be without both of those guys in maybe the most important game left in the season, and you hate to say that in October.
So how do you have Tampa getting in over Atlanta?
I think they're better. Without those two receivers, maybe not now.
Not now.
And I know they lost the game to Atlanta, but
not now.
I thought they were better. They may not be now. You might be right.
No, this changes everything, Charlie. I mean, those are two studs, and they rushed back. And you could see him favoring that hamstring before the injury. Which, man, if you're favoring it, if he re-injures it, it's way worse. And it's going to be way worse. So, he couldn't even get up off the ground when it happens. So you turn that strain into a pull, and man, you're stuck now. Atlanta's going to be the favorite now, even though it's at Tampa Bay, huh?
I didn't check.
Yeah, I'm almost positive. I'll check real quick.
The trade deadline is still 2 weeks away. If you're Tampa, and I don't have necessarily – well, I got one name in mind, but I don't know how much of a difference he would make. Is there a receiver on the market that you could go out and get that would make a difference? The one guy that is on the trade block is Mike Williams up with the Jets. I don't know how much he would move the needle at this point. He's oft injured, but
Atlanta's a road favorite, 2.5 now.
2.5, yeah.
Yeah, that's in sync with our friends over at the Queen, where we'll be this weekend. So anyway, come on by and check us out here at Mike Anderson's, and boy, we were blowing and going for Ole Miss weekend. We'll be popping again for Alabama weekend right around the corner. But every week we've got the bar-only specials. That's right. On Mondays, it's Myco Mondays. That's right. Half off large margaritas and half off of shrimp tacos. That's every Monday from 5 to 9 p.m. Bar only. Oyster Tuesday, half off the raw oysters. That's by the half dozen or by the dozen, and half off of all draft beer as well. Cold beer, ice cold oysters. Does it get any better than that? On a Tuesday, 5 to 9, bar only. Wine Wednesdays, half off bottles of wine. Surf and turf, also specials, but everything that we have, whether it's, I don't know, a La Crema Chardonnay to a Camus or Silver Oak Cabernet. The Mike Teeny Thursday select martinis, $7 in the bar as well. And so got a new audio system here in the bar, and so DJing Hurricane, he means picking up right where he left off. But our bar-only specials all week long here at Mike Anderson's on Lee, just off of Nicholson.
Live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, you can always get the show on demand. The new LouisianaSports.net, 104.5ESPN.com. New Handycast podcast up on YouTube right now. Richard Dixon and I went through the film of LSU and Arkansas. You can get that right now on YouTube. Search for Handycast, and that is up right now. The other game last night that they managed to put on ESPN Plus. It's nice of them. Makes it difficult when you're at home and you don't feel like setting up the laptop and you just want to kind of go back and forth for a little while. Makes it harder.
Oh, yeah.
First world problems. Yeah.
I laid in bed and got the laptop. So
yeah, that's kind of what I did too. Cardinals get a field goal at the gun to win this thing 17-15, a game that I don't know. I just kept kind of waiting for it to start. I was paying more attention to the other games, so maybe I wasn't as tuned in as maybe I should have been.
I was more tuned into this one because I had the Chargers more.
Yeah. And they lost at the end, so like I said, by the end I had kind of lost a little bit.
So what do you think about Harbaugh's team? What does he want to approach? What did he show with when he made his first pick in the draft? I mean, what is he?
He takes Joe Alt. He wants to be a physical, run the football.
Wants to be a line of scrimmage coach. Wants to run the ball and stop the run, right?
Yeah, right.
Well, they got outrushed 181-59. They've got injuries. Bosa's hurt again. He's always hurt, but it's still impactful. And they're also hurt on the outside. And so, but Arizona play like they got embarrassed last week. And we see this sometimes in the NFL. And they got embarrassed by Green Bay. And boy, Belichick is really good on that Manning cast. And he's just, I said, man, this, the Connor, the running back out of Pitt, who's with Pitt, the Steelers for a while now. He's with Arizona. And he's just a football player. He said, man, he is hard to tackle. He runs hard. I mean, this guy could play. How New England would put those guys on both sides from town or have multiplicity. They loved versatile players because it showed football IQ as well. So he could have played linebacker for us. And, I mean, he was hard, and he was the difference on them, 181-59. The Jim Harbaugh team can't get outrushed 3-1. That's more than 3-1. So field goals get you beat in the NFL. That's what kind of stimulated the analytics. That's saying, and it did. And Decker can roll, baby. He hit one from 60-plus last night. He's a weapon. And if Harbaugh's going to do it. But it was the lack of players on the outside. The players on the outside, McConkey is not 100%. He was limited in the separation that could. And they went to a kind of a secondary tight end without a whole lot of explosion for 8 catches and 80 yards. That was it. Herbert did it. But in a game like this, you cannot fumble the ball where you're going, and it wasn't like he reached it out.
I've
but
at lunch.
But he didn't secure it. And Belichick, we know about his policy. We're going to cut you if you reach it out inside the 5. Says, it's just you have to cradle it. You have to protect it more because they're desperate. The DB is desperate at this point, and they're just going to punch it, and they're very good at it. So they had 2 balls punched out. Now you can't blame the lineman, the defensive lineman who gets the tipped interception.
It's not like he kicked the ball on purpose. It goes scooting down the field. I know he
got punched. He lost the ball because they punched it out.
Right.
Because he didn't have ball security.
Yeah, and
how many times is he going to have the ball? No. For the wide receiver, he's got to have better ball security. And it was it was just 7 points. And your 7 points in that game is the difference between winning and losing. So came down to the end. Chargers with a chance to kick a long field goal to take the lead. Went for it, ran the very same play that they got stuffed on, and with the fullback. And they got it, and they could have milked it, but the Herbert and the wide receiver on different pages, he broke off his route. He threw it deep. There was contact. They lifted the flag because it was not catchable. And although I wish they had called it that. But anyway, and then here's your analytics, huh? Well, 3rd and short and 4th and short for Philadelphia is a little different with Jalen Hurts, who squats 600 pounds, opposed to Kyler Murray. They ran a tush push twice. A 3rd down got stuffed. A 4th down got stuffed. A little bit different. I love the ESPN analytics. Doesn't matter what teams, what coach, all that stuff matters. So, anyway, but a 50-50 game. That turnover on downs gave the Chargers a spark. But the 2 turnovers early in the game by the defensive lineman and by the receiver Rieger was just too much for them to overcome. Murray made some clutch plays, though.
Yeah, Arizona's hard to figure. They're one of the hardest teams to figure in the whole league. We watched the opener. We were at the Beau Rivage at opening weekend NFL season, and they jump out on the Bills 17-3. And I'm like, oh, look at in Buffalo. Like, wow, look at this. Well, they end up losing that game. They come back the next week. They blow out the Rams, and this was before the Rams had lost, half their offense.
Man, he looked great that day.
They come back the next week. They lose to the Lions. No problem. Okay, Lions are really good. Then they play the Commanders, and they get blown out by 4 touchdowns. So you go, okay, you put up a nice fight, but you're 1-3. You're the Cardinals. Then they go beat the Niners on the road by a point. Miraculous comeback in the 4th quarter, but they beat them. Okay?
Miraculous or San Francisco's defensive front. This just in, if they don't put it away in the 4th quarter, they get tired.
Okay, yeah.
We see it in 2 Super Bowls.
Comeback win, tough place to play. Then okay, maybe they're a little bit better. They go to Green Bay, they get blown out. If you lose a game at Green Bay, okay, you lost the game by 3 touchdowns. So you come back last night and you win the play on the last play of the game, and the Cardinals, the Chargers give you one on the play that you just talked about.
Actually, Arizona's a lot like most teams. They're hit and miss. They got a quarterback that's dangerous, but he's highly inconsistent.
I thought Marvin Harrison would be a bigger impact guy at this point. To this stage, he has not been as impactful as either of the LSU receivers that went in the first round, and Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas both have better numbers than him. So I thought he would be. Maybe they're still getting acclimated. It's not he hadn't been bad, but I thought he's going to be.
He had a long one against Washington in that second game, but he also had a key drop last night, and probably the biggest call of the game was. He was pressured. Murray was pressured. This is after the Chargers kicked it to take a 15-14 lead. 2nd down and 10. He throws it to Harris, incomplete. In a safety, it looked like nothing. But he kind of launched and gave him a chance and led with his helmet, and they called targeting. Instead of 3rd and 10, you get the ball near midfield. And so, and then they pretty much set him up for the game-winning fall. But
he
just can't launch. I mean, at this point, you're safe. You just can't. You can't. I mean, there was one really strong hit, and I forget which game it was. But the guy, I mean, it was a vicious. It's the safety from Notre Dame for Baltimore, and I mean, he smokes a guy after about like a clear second after it, but he led with the shoulder and hit shoulder. And the rules official comes in and says, "No, I mean, you just got to adjust." I mean, to launch with your head down, and he barely glanced it, but he gave him a chance to call it. I mean, you just can't do that. So, I mean, we know the damn rule by now. So
everybody's been taught.
But I think Murray is. You just don't know. You have no idea what you're getting him from play to play, much less game to game.
I would question why Harrison disappears from the game plan from time to time, because I think he's a real talent.
And
I'm not saying it's his necessarily.
He's a rookie.
Yeah, and maybe it just takes a little time.
Hey, Neighbors disappeared Sunday.
Well, yeah.
Don't forget our friends over at Electric Man, ElectricManBatonRouge.com. No. You know, some things you want to try and figure out it yourself, save some money, things like that. I get it. But electrical work is not for the do-it-yourself type of work over at home. No. Call the professionals over at Electric Man. I mean, we've got licensed professionals. I mean, we def quality service, licensed professional. We're insured. We'll come in and give you a free inspection, free estimates, friendly technicians, along with being qualified. Guaranteed scheduled appointments. Not going to hold you hostage all day. So if you need some dedicated computer circuits updated, electrical code updates, electrical safety inspections, child-proof outlets, yes indeed, surge protection, GFCI outlets, wiring updates. You got an older home, and you hear that little sound? No. That's a fire hazard. Circuit breaker replacements, the whole thing. So lighting controls, both interior and exterior, recessed lighting, retrofit lighting, or commercial specialty lighting, holiday lighting, even just around the corner. Get in touch with our friends over at ElectricManBatonRouge.com. 372-5356, 372-5356, and ElectricManBatonRouge.com.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
The Pierreport store and the Thibodeau store. So you're doing some construction on your home. Maybe you got a little project. Maybe you're doing a little addition. Anything that you need lumber, let them deliver it for you from the Pierreport store. You can get online, ThibodeauStore.com, and have your lumber delivered. So whether you're building yourself or you're working with a contractor, let them take care of all your lumber needs. Take care of all your concrete, all your painting. If you're doing a little construction project, let them start with you, help you out. You can work with your contractor. They'll work with you. Get your supplies delivered. Down at the Thibodeau store, more than just hardware, jambalaya and crawfish pods, custom cypress furniture, a ton of fishing gear. So if you're going down to Grand Isle or Fouchon, anywhere down by the coast, you're going through Thibodeau, stop at the Thibodeau store, pick up all of your gear. Thibodeau store, 900 St. Patrick Highway, and very convenient to order online for delivery or pickup online at ThibodeauStore.com.
Heading out to Las Vegas, deep in the desert, lives one man. One man of many sports bets. The one and only Andy Isco.
Hey, Andy, what's going on, my man?
Gentlemen, I am doing fine. It's been a fun weekend. We're starting to see some separation in the NFL and college football as well. We continue to have a lot of meaningful games, a lot of elimination games. I think November will be known as Elimination Month as far as the college football playoffs are concerned.
Yeah, we took a little bit of a blow with your over last night was a sleeper with Tampa Bay and Baltimore, and probably would have scored even more had Tampa Bay not suffered those injuries. Washington, Carolina, we went a bad luck. And Daniels going down early in the game. Still very close, but still that was a difference in that one.
Yeah, I was thinking that maybe one of those field goals would have ended up being a touchdown
Oh,
had Daniels been in there. But Mariota played very, very well. I was surprised. I was pleased, and maybe I don't downgrade Washington all that much. Although let's see if Mariota can keep it going, depending on how long Daniels is out.
What's his status, Charlie? I mean, questionable
Week to
of
week.
Daniels?
Yeah.
Week to week?
Yeah, they said he is not ruled out of this game this weekend at this point. So
I think he could have played on Sunday. I mean, he was a little aggravated. It wasn't – he's got to – maybe this little minor injury it's a pain tolerance thing with the ribs, but, maybe teach him how to practice. You got to practice sliding, man.
the one thing that concerned me when they talked about it in the press conference yesterday, they wouldn't confirm or deny that he broke one of the ribs. So I think if he wouldn't have broke it, they just said, no, nothing's broken, and he didn't say that. So there's a touch concern in there.
Andy,
If I'm Washington, I definitely don't rule him out, but let the opposition, in this case Chicago, have to prepare for Mariota and Daniels. If you've got 50% of your time on Mariota and 50% of your time on Daniels, that's 50% of the time that you're not spending on whoever ends up starting.
Hey, Andy, is it time to be concerned for the 49ers?
Yes. Yeah. Aside from the fact that it's the Super Bowl hangover, which I never really ascribed to, even though they have struggled, it's the injuries and the cluster of injuries at the various positions. McCaffrey now looks like he's going to be delayed a little bit, and the backup is banged up, and just all sorts of issues that no team anticipates. They anticipate having injuries, but generally more spread out and not affecting especially the skill positions for a team that is generally innovative.
Is it time to bet on the Browns? The football side of this thing is, hey, look, the Browns. Maybe they could. Watson had to go, and they were only doing it because they had spent so much money, and they were just going to insist on it. They didn't bring Flacco back because they didn't want fans clamoring for Flacco. But here we're going. They could turn the page now, and this team does have decent defense, and now Nick Chubb is healthy again as well.
Yeah, well, I think the enthusiasm for the Browns actually started this past weekend. That line went down considerably, I think it was even 5.5 in some places, and they didn't play terribly. They didn't play well. I'd be a little bit more concerned about Cincinnati, and they're 2 weeks in a row where they had difficulty cashing in on scoring drives. First against the Giants, and then last week against Cleveland, but. I would think the Browns there'll be a little bit more stability as far as having Jameis Winston in there, the offensive line getting a little bit healthier. So is it time to bet on the Cleveland Browns? It might be, but I think I still want to wait and see how they do with Winston in there and the same offensive line that struggled for Watson, of course, which was not surprising, but also to see how Chubb gets a little bit more rust off and maybe it takes the game. So maybe I will miss a winner this week, but it would help me in the future getting the confidence that Cleveland's going to be the Cleveland team we thought they might be entering the season, especially defensively.
DTR got hurt in that game, too, so it's Winston's ship to fly. They signed Bailey Zappi off the practice squad to back him up, so you got Winston and Zappi moving forward.
DTR did not look good in relief on Sunday. Watson actually was having a decent game.
He was. It was his best statistical game. I think he was 15 or 17 when he left, which is by far his best.
But his yards per attempt were like 10 yards an attempt.
Yeah, he was
way above.
It was the best he had played, for sure.
Yeah, way above.
But that may also point to some continuing issues with Cincinnati's defense.
Yes, they played better against New York on Sunday night, the Giants. But everybody beats the Jets and Giants. It's now smooth 4-32.
I could not believe that Giants game. The first 7 possessions for the Eagles and Giants were all punts. Total of 13 sacks in the game. I had some friends who went to the game. I said, did you leave early? He said, yeah, we left with about a minute to go. I said, well, that was 20 minutes after the Giants.
We 3 of us had the Eagles-Giants under on Football Sunday. Yep. And rarely do we, we're more sides than totals, but we all thought that was a real possibility. So, all right, college football. I mean, is is it time to turn a page from cute little story to a different level of respect for the Indiana Hoosiers? They're now minus 120 at our DraftKings outlet down here at the Queen Casino to make it to the playoff.
Well, a lot of people were pointing to the fact that they hadn't really faced a test, and as much as I like Nebraska, I didn't really consider Nebraska a test. However, we will have a test in a couple of weeks when Indiana plays Ohio State. That'll be a legitimate test. It might still not get them out. It still might not eliminate them from the playoffs if they can go the rest of the season. But they host Washington this week. They're about a touchdown favorite. Then they're at Michigan State. They host Michigan, which not a great team this year, but still a lot of athletes. Then they're at Ohio State before they end with Purdue. So Indiana does have the possibility of being undefeated going into that Ohio State game. And if they do, it might very well be that that's the first of two matchups against Ohio State for the Big Ten title a few weeks later.
Curtis Rourke, the Indiana quarterback, had surgery on his thumb yesterday. Now, that sounds bad, but actually after he came out of it, they say his prognosis has improved. They're hoping that it's just one game, that it's just a Washington game, that he can be back the following week against Michigan State.
So let me see. They play Washington and then Michigan State.
Yes,
before Ohio State. They play Ohio State November 23rd. So
yeah, Michigan is after Michigan State, and then it's Ohio State.
Okay. So and I mean. They're a different level of respect for me. What about the other cute story?
By the way, they do have a bye week before facing Ohio State.
That's right.
Hey, what about the other cute story? The Army-Navy tandem. Well, both of them we talked about how weak this Notre Dame schedule was this year, but we didn't anticipate Army and Navy. But they are. This line is bouncing around a little bit, and some sharp money came in on Notre Dame. But can Navy compete at MetLife Stadium noon Eastern kickoff on Saturday?
I think this will be one of those games that you'll probably get a good feel about how Navy will do maybe from the first two possessions that they have. Notre Dame, the more talented team, but Navy is a very disciplined team. They don't turn the football over, which is not, I don't even know if they've lost a turnover this year, actually, at least against FBS competition. I think they did against their first game against an FCS team. But it's interesting because we do have the possibility of Army-Navy playing back-to-back. They could end up playing for the AAC title the week before the annual Army-Navy game is played. So that would be very interesting, and I think a lot of people would actually be rooting for that. And with the AAC being the way that it is, who's to say that both Army and Navy can't go through that schedule? They might both lose to Notre Dame, but they might not lose an AAC conference game. And so they could very well end up meeting in the AAC title game. And, we don't know who will end up being the Power 5 representative in the playoff. We may learn a little bit more this week if Boise State can win out here in Vegas against UNLV. They still have only that one loss, that 3-point loss at Oregon. They might be the representative even if Liberty goes unbeaten.
How about this? Last week's number one team, Texas, all the resources in the world. Maybe the best job in college football now that they have that SEC affiliation, and it has motivated their boosters to spend more money. Them against Vanderbilt or Ole Miss against Oklahoma? Oklahoma is a bigger underdog than Vanderbilt is against Texas this week. Wow.
Yeah, I was on Ball State last week against Vanderbilt. You had to believe to have a letdown, and sure enough, it showed. I mean, Vanderbilt won, but it wasn't as easy as the 26, 27, 28-point line suggested that it might be. Oklahoma, despite what Texas did, Oklahoma's still been a very solid defensive team this year. They just can't score. And that could be an issue against Mississippi, although Ole Miss has had some issues with the offense the last few weeks. So, maybe it's wearing down. Maybe other teams are catching on to a bit of Lane Kiffin's schemes and all that. So I know I can't lay the points with Ole Miss. It's a question of do I want to be brave enough to take them with Oklahoma.
Andy, can I ask you about Boise State and UNLV? This is a Friday night game at Allegiant Stadium, right there where you are. Major playoff implications because either one of these teams, but especially Boise State, could be the Group of 5 representative in the playoffs. Boise's a small, about a field goal, maybe a 3.5-point favorite against UNLV on Friday night. What do you think?
Well, I go back to last year when they met in early December. And by that time, UNLV was no longer a surprise. They were having their best season in years. Barry Odom, his first year they came in, I think they had 7 or 8 wins at that point, or 9 wins maybe. And Boise State really handled them with a great deal of ease. Not that much has changed. Of course, they got the Heisman running back, the favorite right now, or one of the top 2 or 3 favorites. The UNLV start of the season, okay, they had that road win at Houston to open the season. Then a couple of weeks later, they had that road win at Kansas. We thought Kansas might be a player in the Big 12 this year. We weren't really sure about Houston with Willie Fritz coming over and inheriting a team that didn't even play up to its capabilities the last couple of years. And yet we've turned out and we've seen that as we've gotten deeper and deeper into the season, Houston and Kansas, both of them have struggled. Kansas, of course, got that big win against Houston. So it sort of devalues the UNLV win earlier in the year. Maybe not so much the Kansas win, although I'll be interested in that Kansas State game this week. I'll be looking at taking the points with Kansas if I can finally get there, because that's the way that I've been handicapping that game the last few weeks. UNLV's defense was really the story of the early part of the season. Yeah, they put up big numbers, but the defense, which was considered a weakness last year and the weakness entering this year, played very well for the first 4 or 5 games. But then starting with that Syracuse game, maybe they've worn down a little bit, and that's my concern in trying to back UNLV this week, plus the 3.5 against Boise. I just think Boise, that experience, that pedigree might be a little bit too much. Yeah, I'll be rooting for UNLV as a fan, but I don't know that I'll be betting on them.
All right, follow Andy also on Twitter at VegasAndy711. He's with us every Sunday for football. So how did we do this week as collectively, Charlie?
We were 17-1.
Okay, all right, okay. Just treading water there. We'll spin it on wheels a little bit.
That's a lot of picks, by the way.
That's college pro.
No, but on Sunday.
Oh, on Sunday. Let's see. We were
even 35 for the week is a lot.
Yeah, 5-3 is what I'm
5-3.
Yeah. Hang on, I'm doing this quick.
We'll revisit this later. We've got. Well, I'll dig it up.
I thought you meant Andy.
No. Andy was 1-1. He lost in a Washington, Carolina over, and he hit the Tampa Bay Baltimore over.
Paul was 2-0. Delicano was 3-0. I was 3-0.
There you go.
You were 2-3.
There we go. Look, how about that, Charlie? Charlie 3-0. You think he'd have better memory of his 3-0 week?
I got it all written down. If I could just read my own handwriting, you know.
Thank you, Andy. We'll talk to you on Sunday.
Charlie gets the Jimmy Ott Trophy for the week.
Yes, indeed.
Nice Sunday.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Don't forget our friends at K&M Automotive on Segan Lane, Segan and Perkins, across from Ambrosia Bakery. Hey, you talk about everything. AC repair, alignment, brakes, oil change, car and truck care, domestic cars and trucks, electrical services, electronic services, engine transmission, general service, heating and cooling, you name it. Engine light comes on. You don't know what it is. Bring it to my buddy Jason Payne over at K&M Automotive. Segan Lane between Perkins and I-10, but closer to Perkins, kind of the side of Winn-Dixie, across Segan from Ambrosia Bakery. It's the only place I take my vehicle. They're open 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. K&M Automotive.
Live at lunch from Mike Anderson's 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, we got an unofficial count now. I looked at 14-8 in our NFL contributors for the week. 14-8. The colleges, we were 17-1 throughout the week last week.
Okay.
14-8 in the NFL. You weren't the only one that bid on the Chargers. Chargers we're in a couple of different spots.
Close, man. Just can't. I thought they were playing too good. I mean, they're a well-coached team.
Yeah.
I never dreamed they'd get outrushed 3-1. You know.
No,
Connor, and it wasn't like just a lot of, jitterbug Murray runs. It was Connor. I mean, Connor was the most effective weapon in that game last night. Not even close.
And J.K. Dobbins was having a nice comeback season.
He's fine. Charlie, they're just banged up right now. He doesn't have he's fine. He's going to be fine. They just, man, they don't respect him on the outside right now. And so that's what Mayfield going to deal with this week. I mean, that is, you think he's forced some balls where he's had how many interceptions the last 2 games? 5? 2 last night, 3 against the Saints?
Was it 3 against the Saints?
It was 3.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I mean,
they were all deflected against the Saints in his
all
defense.
3?
But, yeah.
Okay, but,
No, they count. I mean, I get it.
I mean, what's he going to do now without these guys?
Yeah, no, that's a big loss for them to lose Godwin and for the season, and Evans for I would say a month. Given the severity of that. All right, we do first class, second class, no class. When we return here at Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch, first class.
I want a seat in first class where I was booked and ticketed over a month ago.
Second class.
No man should be subjected to the indignity of being labeled or treated like a second-class citizen.
And no class.
Life had become like school on Sunday. No class.
I'll tell you what then. Why don't you call me sometime when you have no class?
First class, second class, and no class. Brought to you by Supreme Rice. Buy local with Louisiana-based Supreme Rice since 1936.
And we return here at Mike Anderson Seafood, Wesley at Nicholson. First class, second class, and no class. All right, let's get right to it. Well, we lost a good one last week. The news, the unexpected death of Charlie Baglio after a high school game on Friday night. He was involved in a traffic accident and was killed. Unfortunately, he was getting out to check on what had happened and what was a little minor fender bender and was hit. And Jimmy, we knew Bags for a long time, going back to his days at Independence when we were going down to the Dome and doing games every year, call those state championship games with Independence. Those great teams he had with Antron Sieber and LeBrandon Tofield, and won over 200 games as the coach over at Independence. And then, before that, actually, before those championship games, he had helped form the Louisiana High School Football Coaches Association. You want to talk about some heavyweights in the high school ranks? Him, Louis Cook, Frank Monica, and Tim Detillier. I mean, that's a who's who of dominant high school coaches who won state championships up and down. So he helped form that organization, and he spent a little over 20 years at LSU as essentially the high school liaison, and what a perfect person to do that, because everybody knew him and he knew everybody, and everybody respected the job he did as a coach. But everybody liked him too. He's as personable a guy as you can get around
in a group that's hard to be universally liked.
Yes, that's a very good point.
Yes.
He always had a story, he had a chuckle, he had a smile, and Jimmy, I know you'll remember this day too. We were sitting right here, right where we are here at Mike Anderson.
Here come strawberries.
Yeah, and here comes Bags. He's got this box of strawberries, and I think he had been to Ponchatoula, Hammond, where and he said, but I thought you guys would like some strawberries. He left us the whole box. And it's like, who does that?
Yeah, he gave us all a flat.
Yeah, it was just so nice of him to do that. Listen, I brought you guys some strawberries. We're going to miss him because he was a lot of fun to be around, and he was so knowledgeable about the game. And he was, would you say he was candid about things? That's one of the words I would use about him.
He's
when
Italian.
He was
He's animated, and that's kind of a heavily Italian kind of area in Independence. But doing different work over the years with long-term former Independence pitcher turned Major League scout Mark Willoughby. And he did a lot of the announcing for their games and down in the Hammond Independence area. And Coach Bags was like family to him. I knew some of his family. I know his niece, Tracy Rossi. I know, didn't Coach Bags. Those independent meet games were classic. Yeah. Career at a meet, and career brothers were both at Kentwood in a meet, and he's at Independence. And then it was the year where he lost Tofield to the knee injury. Yeah. And so they still make it. Sieber, who was a second-round draft pick by the Red Sox,
baseball,
and also a two-sport athlete, and he was the quarterback. He was the best athlete, at quarterback. But they played against Evangel, man, and he came up with a game plan. He did not snap the ball with over 1 second the whole game. He shortened the game, and, man, Evangel, who was just supposed to just kill him, which they did the year before. They obliterated Independence, and that was with Tofield. So this was without him, and, man, it was one of the great games that we did and that we saw, and giving the underdog a chance. But, man, it's just a personality and, long-term coach, and he lived a full life. But, man, it's a hard way. And, man, he just kept chucking along. I mean, that was a little bit of a surprise. He took that high school liaison job with LSU because he kind of retired, but he fit it. He did it so perfectly. And so, man, you talk about a great guy, a personable guy, always got a little word for you.
Got a story, man.
So he is beloved in that area, beloved beyond the area since he worked in Baton Rouge and LSU and had to extend to all areas of the state and not just the Tangipahoa area. So worked with Deke Bellavia down there. We did a show down there, and we did a lot of high school centric. So, and if you do any type of work down there in the high schools, you're going to deal with Coach Baggs. And so, man, sorry, real sorry to hear those news.
We see those guys. We go down. You and I used to go every year for the state championships, and I know they still do it, but I hate. Since the split, it's just not the same. But when we get down there for those 5 games, you see so many people. You could have, real candid conversations with people. I got to know Keith Corona, who took over for him at Independence, and is a terrific coach in his own right. And he had of course, a bunch of warm things to say about Charlie Baglio. We're going to miss him. Charlie Baglio passed at the age of 81. Second class, good with a chance to be great. All right, here's another one of your favorite stats, Jimmy. Red zone conversions. And when you talk about red zone conversions, you talk about touchdown conversions, not field goal conversions. So if you look at a red zone conversion, don't look at the score percentage, look at the touchdown percentage. In conference games, LSU in the red zone is achieving touchdowns at a 53% rate. That's right smack dab in the middle of the conference. That's ninth. It's okay. It's not good enough. They had some field goals in this game, obviously against Arkansas from the red zone. So to get that better, here's something I think is going to help them, and that's Trey'Dez Green. Green was moved to wide receiver full-time last week. To that point, he had played 38 snaps all season. He played 42 snaps in this game. He caught a 2-point conversion. He had another catch. But there was a play that we ran on the Handycash yesterday. You can go check that out on YouTube, where Richard Dixon shows a route that Green has run that's a little bit sloppy. He says this is one of the things and he shows you exactly what he does. And he shows you how Lacey runs the route one play later. And he says, okay, this is one of the things that is correctable. Green is going to be a weapon down there in the second half of the season. If, the more he gets, more reps he gets, we assume that he will get better. It's a matchup nightmare. We saw a little bit of this in the Arkansas game. I think we'll see more of it as we go along. So good with a chance to improve, let's say. Trey'Dez Green, especially not just in the red zone, but especially in the red zone, is my good with a chance to be improved. Maybe
saw him play a lot in high school, and he's very raw, but he can do things that that you just don't see. And so if they could polish him up, I think the first thing was getting him detached from that line. He's not going to get in there, get after it. Yeah. Will he block on the edge? And some smaller guys starting to do it a little bit. But just taking, he's a tight end receiver, but he's not a tight end blocker. Okay, so he doesn't need to be attached, but because he's a tight end receiver, those are the guys that get on. Antonio Gates, Gronk, Jimmy Graham. Those are the guys that, because they can create almost box out and create a window to throw in, as opposed to where the separation is so much tighter for the smaller receivers. So, that's a big jump up. In the red zone, man, finishing drives, 7s instead of 3 is a big deal, no doubt.
There was another big play in the touchdown he caught in the Ole Miss game, and we had that one on the previous handicast. He said, look, he doesn't do a whole lot right on this play. His first step is wrong. The route is not very good. But when he gets in the end zone, the defensive back comes up to his armpits.
Yes.
So he still catches the ball and he still scores.
That size is legit.
So
Yeah.
when you get when these techniques get refined, he is going to be impossible to guard. I'm looking forward to it. I'm real excited about his future.
He's got a very high ceiling.
Yeah. No class. I'm gonna let you do. You've been complaining about this since Sunday, so I'm gonna give you the floor here.
Well, the whole women's basketball, and some people just don't. Like, please, I'm not watching the other ones. Man, why not? Give us something to do. The college basketball, the Caitlin Clark bringing extra eyeballs to it, and quite frankly, I don't think I've watched any WNBA games before this past season. But hey, add it to my summer list of golf and soccer and some others.
Expanding, Jimmy.
Well, in the summer, yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Football, no. So, but we were at the Beau Rivage, and we got the Steelers-Jets game. Well, wait a minute. We got the WNBA final. We got a baseball game. Yes, we'll throw a little. Wait a minute. 6.5. All four of these is Game 5, the championship game, fifth and final game of the New York, Minnesota. Let's hear. All of the games have come down to the wire, extremely close. I'm taking 6.5. Okay, yeah. And Minnesota is winning most of the game. And New York trying to come back. And, well, it comes down to a final possession. Coach in the sideline, the capture in the huddle. Look, Brianna, you take it. Look, initiate contact. And it exaggerate when you draw contact. First of all, she gets the ball. She walks. It's a great player. All right, maybe a reputation call. Then the girl in the lane, the defender in the lane, is just standing there, and she initiates the contact. She throws her body back, and should have been a no call, but it was a clear walk. It was a clear offensive foul, but they call a defensive foul. She hits the 2 free throws. They go on to win in overtime. You say, man, come on, man. And people use that word. Man, this was rigged. How often have you heard that? Just fraud that. Man, this game was rigged. NFL's rigged. This and that's rigged. Okay. 25-8 free throw discrepancy for the game. All right, they've been that before, huh? 25-8, still a lot. This bad club. You saw the play, right?
I went back and looked at it. I wasn't watching it Sunday, but I saw. To me, it's a real close race between what was the worst call, missing the travel, which was obvious, or the phantom foul call. I'll go with the phantom foul call,
okay.
but they were both bad.
Let me go.
They were both bad.
What if Greg Sankey showed up at the SEC championship in a I don't know, a Roll Tide an Alabama sweatshirt, huh?
It wouldn't go over well. About like when Bruce Marshall showed up to media days with the Auburn jersey on Alabama Day.
So here is during the trophy presentation, Charlie. Yeah. Here is the NBA commissioner. Her name is Kathy Engelbert. Here's her dress. You notice the New York skyline on the dress?
I do. Yeah.
That's not very objective.
No.
That's not impartial attire, is it?
It's just foolish to.
How about the
why are you giving them any possible?
How about the WNBA league tweet after on social media? The trophy is back where it belongs.
It's never been there before. And this is their first title.
It's
like saying the Knicks have returned. The Knicks have been gone for 40 years, 50 years.
I mean, bro, this is so. It is beyond Bush League. This is investigative. I mean, this is real. I mean,
I didn't see the tweet. That's the first I heard of that. That's bad. That's like saying, well, look, the
New York themed dress.
That's bad. The Lombardi Trophy's going back to Cleveland where it belongs. Well, how would we know? It's never been there. They've never won. They've never won a title.
How about? I mean, you show up at the. I mean, come on, man. I mean, if the commissioner can't show, she's. I mean, she's. This is unbelievable in a sport that's trying to gain some trying to gain respectability.
Yeah,
this is a joke, man. This is a joke, and it's on the heels. And listen, the Caitlin Clark not being on the
Olympic team.
The Olympic team, and they're trying to, this and that. There's some hate. There's some, the hazing that they had in it. But she's first team All NBA, All WNBA. She was.
Mm-hmm.
she was not one of the best 5 players in the league. Not this year. It's a transition. She led the league in turnovers, Charlie. Period.
Yeah.
Okay? So she Rookie of the Year? Absolutely. 100%. She was a better player than Angel Reese. She was a more effective player. And they got better and they got to the playoffs, okay? But still, I mean, the shooting percentage, the whole thing, I mean, no. It's just.
She did lead the league in assists, too, to be fair about it. But, okay, you watched way more of this than I did.
And she led the league in turnovers.
Yeah.
Okay, so wash those.
All right.
How's the shooting percentage?
Well, she made the most 3-pointers out of anybody.
She shot the most.
She did.
I
can say that without having watched very many games.
I mean, listen, I saw her hang in there. I saw how she's going to get better. But she had a lot of rough games in there. And I ain't a whole lot of the other ones who made first team All-NBA and also bring more to the table defensively than her. So, listen, she's going to be great. She's really good. She was the best rookie. Okay, the whole thing. She wasn't the best 5 player in the league. That's debatable.
Yeah.
This is not.
No, that was a bad a bad look.
Optics. Beyond optics.
And
I mean, you're going out of your way. Sankey would never think about this and all the, I mean, this is unbelievable, dude.
The call, the tweet, the dress. That's bad. I mean, I can't. That's bad.
But then when you throw in 25 to 8 free throws, also, then everything has to be looked at.
Right.
I mean, you were trying to have some integrity, and if you're going to, and yes, you can bet on this stuff. So if you don't have the confidence in the consumer that the games are on the square, you got nothing.
Right.
You know, you championship wrestling. You know, I mean, you want to rig it, you want to stage it. I mean, because the number one media market, you think you're going to – man, you got to have your games on the square.
Yeah, I can deal with the free throw discrepancy. We've seen that a bunch of times. It's aggravating, but at least we've seen it before. I can even deal with the phantom foul call. It's horrible, but I've seen really bad calls in championship-level games before. But the dress and the tweet are easily controllable. Okay, you wear neutral colors, and if you're the WNBA official account, you tweet out "Congratulations to the champions," and you go from there. Not
look at the dress.
The dress blows my mind. I had not seen that until you. I knew what you were going to talk about, but I didn't see the dress. That's bad. I got on Ryan Clark the other night on a simple Monday night game for wearing all red. Kansas City.
Yes.
But he's meaty.
This is the Game 5 of your championship series.
That's bad, man.
This is Game 5. If you can't have this game on the square, what other games can we have trust in?
If Goodell shows up,
you know what I mean? You're not fixing the Kentucky Derby. You're fixing the 7th at Delta Downs on a Thursday night.
If Goodell had gone to the trophy presentation last year wearing Clark's suit, that bright red Chiefs, would you go, wait a minute, what are you wearing?
No, this would be like having the Casey, the whole Casey.
With the arrowhead.
The arrow, yes. I mean, this is the arrowhead, yes. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah, you can't wear that. I'm sorry. That's just bad.
There's low-hanging fruit, and then there's this.
You asked, you're like, hey, I want to talk about that. I was like, okay, fine.
You want to be real. No, I kept telling you yesterday at the Barrage, I need to talk about this WNBA crap.
Right.
And look, I wanted to bet.
If you complaining like that and you want to bet, man, how bad is it? How bad is that?
Thank goodness that the Lynx didn't foul when they dribbled out the clock in the last 6 seconds overtime.
Their coach was not holding back in the postgame. I saw that too. She had a case though.
There's case. What's worse?
I'm still trying to get over the dress, man.
I mean, you got to go to some of the boxing stuff or some of the UFC. I mean, where the cards are so like, wait, how does this? What fight are these people watching? But team sports. I mean, you go to game 6 of the Sacramento series with the Lakers when they. Right. I mean, there was the big foul discrepancy. That's debatable. That'd be like Stern sitting on the sideline, hugging Jack Nicholson after the game or something with purple and gold glasses on.
Look, I don't think Vinovich and his crew got up that morning and went to the Superdome with the intent of screwing the Saints. They just did it. This woman knew what she was doing when she got up and got dressed that morning.
She went out of her way.
She knew where she was going, right? Good night. First class, second class, no class, brought to you by Supreme Rice and SupremeRice.com. Try the new parboiled rice, now available everywhere. You can get Supreme Rice. Jimmy, you're doing a lot of cooking with this parboiled rice.
Man, if you cannot figure out how I get my rice at home, it just doesn't come out like the rice we get at the restaurants and things like that. Might be the rice that you're using. Check out the parboiled rice. It's available now. Been out for a few months now. One of our proud new additions to our line of products over at Supreme Rice, and it is a home run. A home run, man. It's a big, long grain rice, firm rice. Doesn't have a lot of that residue after you boil your rice, and it is really good. Man, put me a big old Ziploc in the freezer. Take it out whenever I do my red beans and rice and whatever I have on Mondays. So love me some parboiled rice from Supreme Rice, my favorite.
And the Climate Smart program, future generations of Louisiana farmers will benefit from the methane reductions and the water conservation part of the Climate Smart program that Supreme Rice endorses. More information, go to their website at SupremeRice.com. Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remind you about our friends over at Big Mike's. We get the kids out tonight. You're looking for something to do as we get closer to Halloween. It's Spider-Man night tonight with the kids. Starts at 7 o'clock. And a week from tonight is their trunk or treat on the 29th. That event has been going on for years. It's very, very popular, and it's just what it sounds like. It's a bunch of cars in the parking lot, and you can trick-or-treat with the kids all throughout the parking lot, get all of their treats in the trunk-or-treat deal next Tuesday on Aspen Square. Big Mike's were kind of a big deal. A couple of games we ran out of time yesterday. We didn't get to. Let's start with Missouri and Auburn, Jimmy. This Auburn was a pick I just absolutely loved. I thought they were getting them in a great spot. I thought they had been just with the turnovers had kind of cost themselves a couple of games. Certainly cost themselves the Oklahoma game. Certainly cost themselves the Cal game. They had reduced the number of turnovers. You know what? They're in a spot here. Coming off of a bye, I think they got a great chance. And then Brady Cook goes down the first series of the game. Well, with Pine, the backup quarterback, the kid who used to be at Notre Dame, Missouri's offense was going nowhere. And
it was yes.
Auburn had a 17-3 at its biggest lead. They were cruising, and then they told the sideline reporter that Cook was just going to go to the locker room. He's going to come back. Well, he didn't come back for 2 quarters. They took him to the hospital. Whatever they did to his ankle, he came back, and then all of a sudden, here's the offense, and they score. They scored the last 3 drives of the game, or the last 3 scores of the game were all for them. 2 touchdowns. They win it 21-17. Missouri gets credit for being resilient, and certainly Cook is a really nice player. But I was scratching my head with Auburn through 20 games. Brian Harsin's record at Auburn was 9-11. Through 20 games, Hugh Freeze's record 8-12. They fired Harsin after game 21. Now Hugh Freeze is 8-13 after 21 games at Auburn. Got the last guy fired. It's not going to get this guy fired unless they went and put some more money in the fired coaches fund. That thing's been bleeding money for years. What'd you think?
Pine was able to get one little field goal drive after the fumble. Luther Burden fumbled the punt, and it ended in the end zone to give Auburn their biggest lead at 17-3. Keep in mind, that was one of their 2 touchdowns that they scored. Another one was about a 50-yard pass that he actually put some air into the ball and hit the receiver in stride, but it wasn't. But then they got, after 17-6, they put together one of their best drives, at the ball at their own 25, and got all the way down to the Missouri 10-yard line. First and goal, just inside the 10. And next thing you know, there's a penalty. They got sacked for 12 yards. They kick a field goal, and they miss it from 30 yards. I mean, a chip shot.
Yeah.
And here comes Brady Cook. So you get the stuff. All of a sudden, 17-6. They're going to make it 26 or 24-6. Then it's still 17-6, and he goes to work and immediately, and he won the game for him. I mean, they don't win the game. That was very late in the third quarter, basically the end of the third quarter, on that little sequence where they missed the field goal. And Auburn is looking over their shoulder right now. They're figuring out ways to lose. I mean, I know I talk about it a lot, but, man, 27-10 first downs against Oklahoma, and we know Oklahoma's not good. I mean, you gave that game.
I'm coming to them next.
So,
yeah.
It's just but Missouri, if Cook is healthy the whole time, I think they win. And look, and I picked Auburn. You picked Auburn.
And I think I'm on the wrong side.
But Auburn relaxed a little bit. They relaxed a little bit, and it was just, I know, and when Cook came back, it was just a difference in the game, and it was over. So they not only scored, they got the 2-point conversion to pull within 3, but it was, just Auburn figured out a way to win. But, yeah, we were all talking about the reports, but I mean, follow what's happening actually, with actions, not words. And he was gone for at least an hour like, no, he's not coming back. He was returned at that point.
You watch as much football as anybody. When's the last time you've seen a guy leave the stadium, go to the hospital, come back and get in the game?
It was roughly an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, I mean,
his return.
Usually when they're going that long, that's it.
Well, we didn't know he was left again. We just know he was going for an hour, and he's not coming back.
Mm-mm. No.
So whether you're going to the hospital, to the snowball stand, or to the locker room.
If you're going to get shot up, it doesn't take that long.
No. I'm like, this was some really slow affecting cortisone, and no doubt.
The other, so the next game we want to talk about is Oklahoma and South Carolina. South Carolina blew the doors off. This was 32-3 at the half. Oklahoma finally changed quarterbacks. They had to take the red shirt off of Jackson Arnold. I don't know if he was planning on red shirt or not.
Yes, he was.
And so they take the red shirt off of him. He goes in mildly more effective, if anything, in South Carolina. The second half, it was almost like not running clock, but they were just trying to get the game over. At least South Carolina was. And so it ends up 35-9. Brent Venables got a contract extension in the offseason for reasons passing understanding, is now 11-11 in conference play, and 2 of those years were in the Big 12. Oklahoma is 4-3, and they are looking 5-7 right in the face because they've got a non-conference game left that they could win. They could finish 4-8. I'm sorry, 5-7. Going to win at Ole Miss, 3-touchdown underdog. Going to win at LSU.
No.
Probably not. Going to beat Alabama in Norman? No. You go to Missouri, I don't think they're winning that game either.
No.
They could, but I don't think they're going to. That's 5-7. It's Oklahoma now.
How's that new contract look? But I guess
it looks expensive.
I guess we're not going to see a whole lot of camera shots of the crowd to see his parents. So, Charlie, you got to say you missed on this one. No, Hawkins is not any good. Okay, they found their quarterback, I think is what you said.
I did.
He's gone. His first play. Okay, the kickoff. South Carolina kicks to Oklahoma. They get the ball at their 18. First play, he is intercepted. A few plays later, 7-0 South Carolina. Oklahoma gets the ball again at their own 35. Third play from scrimmage, he is sacked for a 15-yard loss and fumbles. A few plays later, South Carolina cashes it in, and it is 14-0. I'm sorry, two plays. I'm sorry, no, that was a scoop and score.
Yeah.
That was a scoop and score. So 14-0. They come back, get the ball, and a few plays later, he is intercepted again. They turn it into 21-0. That was with 9:45 to go in the first quarter. 5 minutes and 15 seconds in, you've turned the ball over 3 times, and you received it. If you are one of those persons that had to clean up and kind of leave your tailgate last, you didn't get in the game, get to your seat. It was 21-0 South Carolina, and we're favored in this game, huh?
Wow. Yeah, they were favored in this game. I'll own the mistake. I did say they found their quarterback. What I should have said was they decided on a quarterback because they decided on him after that Auburn game, and they were excited about him.
Man,
I shouldn't have said that because I didn't see all of that
because
game.
The quarterback,
that was my mistake.
Because the quarterback from Auburn threw a pick six to a linebacker. That's won the game.
I should have used better words. I should have used better judgment. I'll own that one. I did say it, and I shouldn't have. They decided on a quarterback. They did not find a quarterback, so I screwed that one up.
Here's his passing numbers for the year. He has thrown for 1 TD and 2 interceptions. He has a few more fumbles as well. That was his first 2 interceptions of the year.
Yeah.
But
and I gotta again. I know I harp on this stuff way too much, but and I said it back in the summer when they did it. Why on earth would you give this guy a contract extension based on what he's done? No, he was a 10-8 coach in conference play at Oklahoma prior to this year. That's not even close to Oklahoma standards. Now, that'll get you fired at Kentucky. Okay.
Now, let's complete the story and be fair and just not like trash. Their top 5 receivers are hurt.
Okay.
You guys have 5. They have offensive line injuries as well. So it's is Jackson Arnold going to with Dylan Gabriel? What would he look like? He'd look better. We all know he'd look better.
Right.
Okay, but man, that was just a kind of a curse, a nudging, giving a nudge to Dylan Gabriel.
I'll own the mistake about the quarterback, but I do remember exactly what I said when the contract extension came out. I said, listen, I'm not saying fire the guy, but an extension, you have to explain to me why this is necessary to put the university in a position to have this kind of liability with somebody whose record has been very mediocre.
There's only one story, one piece of information that I would have said, okay, give me an example. If the Carolina Panthers owner was coming to scoop and get you. Because he'd be the only fool to go get him, huh? Nobody else was in line.
I would tell him to go. If the cost of me keeping you as my coach after you've gone 10-8 in conference play over 2 years is to essentially triple your buyout, enjoy Carolina or enjoy wherever you're going. And by the way, I know you made that up because nobody was going over there.
No, but that's the only thing that I would believe. Nobody with any sense is going over there to go scoop him up.
Completely unnecessary, and it's going to cost Oklahoma at some point. Que sera.
Don't forget our friends at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Quality windows, quality doors, quality siding, quality interior shutters as well, and even better customer service. You can go to our website at ReliefWindows.com, schedule your free quote, or give us a call at 230-5652. Talk about all the great products over at Relief Windows and the beauty and the of the doors. But hey, how about some of our some of the other stuff that we do on like the shutters for residential homes and new construction? We do it in the entire Gulf South region, not just here in the Baton Rouge area where we are headquarters. We'll go to Louisiana, all parts of Louisiana, Texas, and Mississippi. Promise the highest quality craftsmanship and service in the South. I say that because I could speak firsthand when it came out. It came out to my house, evaluated my situation, did some computer renderings, gave an idea. We tweaked this, tweaked that, and away we go. We sent it off to American manufacturer. They gave me a call when it came in, set up a time, came in exactly the time, called me when they were like 5-10 minutes away. We're on our way. There they are. They're very courteous. Clean up after themselves as well. Superior quality, superior comfort, superior service at Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Remember, the show is available on demand at LouisianaSports.net and 104.5ESPN.com. New Handycast up on YouTube right now with a review of the film of the Arkansas-LSU game. Jimmy, a couple more as we kind of wrap up the weekend. There were the games we wanted to talk about. USC blew their fourth quarter lead of the season on Saturday. Kansas was leading the country in that stat. They had 5
going that one right.
Yeah, I kicked myself. I should have followed you on that one. I like that as well. Kansas was due for a win. USC led in the fourth quarter at Michigan, lost. Led in the fourth quarter at Minnesota, lost. Led in the fourth quarter against Penn State twice, lost. and led in the fourth quarter by 2 scores, 2 touchdowns at Maryland, and lost. If this was baseball, I'd send them out to find a closer because the bullpen's not holding up here. You watch this game really closely. I didn't get a chance to see as much of it because of the time that it was. But this is not going to help LSU if this comes down to a decision on strength of schedule. That win that USC got against LSU is a long time ago.
USC is Miller Moss hit Deuce Robinson for a 26-yard touchdown a minute and a half into the fourth quarter to build that 28-14 lead. And this was kind of back and forth. You know, the final box score and the yards, 429 to 417. I mean, this was an even game. First downs, exactly 25 apiece with Maryland and Southern Cal. It was just a late charge by Maryland. So they get down there and they score. Charlie, that's with 10-11 to go. Down 2 touchdowns, you score a touchdown. It's not just the pros, but they went for 2.
Yeah.
And that's the right thing to do. Man, it applies so much more pressure. What you're banking on is you can get 1 for 2, and that is your average. But, boy, if you get the first one, then really you're in business. Now, you can miss both of them. There's a 25% chance that you can miss both, okay? But there's a 50% chance you get the first one, and that put them down 6. Here comes USC, and they respond. Nice drive, and they settle for a field goal. And it wasn't a long one. Let me see what it was. This was a 41-yarder. They got in there, and they blocked it. Not only this, but in the comeback, Maryland was 4 for 4 on 4th downs. I mean, this is just a little bit like how many chances did they have? And so Maryland does score and takes the lead with under a minute to go. They hold off USC, turn it over on downs at the Maryland 40 with 14 seconds to go, and that was it. So, you talk about one that kind of got stolen from them. But, how many fourth down, down to the last play, just over and over and over.
In the winter of 2021, 2022.
Can I add one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
And that is, but after they blocked the field goal, there were no 4th downs. There was not a 3rd down. They went pop, pop, pop.
Right down.
They returned a kick actually to the 47, but it was 4 yards. Second and 4 was the longest they had. Second and 4 on the drive. They punched it in immediately. Did not even face a 3rd down. All the momentum was, and you get the home crowd, the whole thing. Man,
there's that Lincoln Riley defense, right?
Yeah,
Going into the 22 season, winter of 21, LSU, Oklahoma, and USC all hired coaches. Venables' record at Oklahoma, this is 3 big-time programs, okay? Venables' record is 20-13, 11-11 in conference play. And that was in the Big 12 the first 2 years.
Yes.
Lincoln Riley, 22-12, 14-9 in conference play. Brian Kelly, 26-8, 15-4 in conference play.
15-4?
15-4. 6-2 the last 2 years and 3-0 this year.
You're not counting the SEC championship game.
I didn't, but okay, 15-5.
No. That's fine. No, that's an extra game on the scheduled games.
Yeah.
Look, and that's the biggest story with LSU. Come on, are they improving?
Yes.
Have they improved? Absolutely.
Yeah.
It wasn't just one special night in Tiger Stadium with the Ole Miss effort.
No.
They followed it up in a very difficult, emotional spot. And man, you set the tone with that opening drive, and it was just. It was impressive. It was complete, and I thought Kelly was interesting talking about Durham. He sort of, kind of, let us know that Durham's not 100%.
Yeah, and
he's a track guy, and a track guy that's not 100%, who's running as hard as he is. He's and one thing that I noticed on him, he's constantly he mentioned his legs. Don't stop driving. You've taught that. Every running back has taught that. Don't ever stop your legs. You keep driving. But he does it, and he's got a lot of toughness, and even more toughness. I didn't know he was less than 100% for a guy that is a track guy.
One more thing about where these teams are going. LSU currently 4th in the composite rankings in recruiting next year. Oklahoma 11, USC 10. Florida. I didn't put Billy Napier's record up there. There's no use to. What do you think Florida's ranked in the? I mean, we're about a 6 weeks to signing date right now. What do you think Florida is? They lost another recruit yesterday.
Wait, on their recruiting rankings?
Yeah, for this upcoming year.
Probably 45.
50.
Yeah.
That's the conversation you have to have with Napier. The on-the-field results are, they're playing hard. I get it. They're playing hard. It's like, wait a minute, your roster's not good enough, and it doesn't look like you got a lot coming. I mean, maybe the rankings are completely wrong, but it gives you a guideline at least, huh?
Yeah, but that team is getting better too, Charlie. And that is not the team that got pushed around. So what has LSU done to improve their defense?
They went out and got better coaches.
No, during the season.
Oh.
During the season. Well, some of those freshmen are starting to get involved in the rotation up front, huh? Yeah. Well, they got some young players that are starting to get in the rotation. So they're doing some coaching. I'm sorry. I mean, Sunbelt Billy has done some things wrong. I got to be fair. I am impressed with their last 4 games. And they are a different team that got just shoved, and I mean shoved around by Miami in that season opener. And LSU's a little bit different team than they
I agree with all that.
USC when USC, hey, we're running the ball, and you couldn't even stop it to get the ball back with a stuffed box.
But I got to ask him why the top of the league has got twice as many. He's got 11 commitments. 11.
Charlie, because nobody thinks he's going to be around next year. Newsflash.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, he's been buried for how long? Just improved play. You got to watch the games like us. A lot of people are watching and seeing that they're improved. Okay. No, he's going to take a lot more than just a few wins and a close loss at Tennessee to get that thing turned around. No, that thing is struggling. No, but I mean, I'm just saying they have improved this year.
They are better now than they were in September. There's no argument.
With losing their quarterback, which is not a positive. And Lagway was highly recruited, but that's not a positive. Mertz was better.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mertz,
this
year,
year,
right
this year, Mertz was better. So, Sunbelt Billy. Got to be fair with Sunbelt Billy.
Got to win one of those. Got to win at least one of those 4 games.
No, who's arguing that? Nobody's arguing that. Don't forget our friends at Total Maintenance. Total Maintenance. Me and Lucas Ragusa have been doing stuff together for a long, long time. And, man, they are at Total Maintenance, one of South Louisiana's oldest and largest air conditioner and heating companies, founded in 1980. Over 50 people working together, 30 for over a decade. That's right. And we got a great staff to handle all of your AC and heating needs. Generator installations and maintenance as well. Service today, every day means same-day service. Means you will never go to sleep hot. Call today. Get service today. Factory authorized dealers for Carrier, American Standard, Daikin, and Rheem products. Generators. We're authorized dealer for Generac and Cummings brands as well. We have offices in Baton Rouge and New Orleans. We have different staffs in Baton Rouge and office. So we overlap, but we do not compromise each other's in our service. And hey, it pays to know Jimmy Ott. Mention Jimmy Ott, half off diagnostics, including after hours, holidays, and weekends. And how about this? A one-time heater or AC visit, normally $179, is just $79. Save you a cool C note. Just mention my name when you need the heater or AC check. That's right, Total Maintenance. Again, their Baton Rouge number, 480-1000, 480-1000.
Live at Mike Anderson's Live at Lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at Lunch with Ott and Yanni from Mike Anderson Seafood on Lee Drive on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Per Diana Rossini at The Athletic, the Rams have put wide receiver Cooper Kupp on the trade block. 31-year-old has been injured for part of this season. They want a 2 back, but they're willing to take on part of his salary in exchange for doing that. He's due $9 million this year, $20 million next year, and then that's the rest of the guaranteed money. So they'll take on part of that, but they want a second-round pick. Odds-on favorite to get him is the Chiefs, followed by the Steelers, and the Giants are listed down here for some reason. I would think that Tampa will jump onto this list.
Think this Russell Wilson thing is got a chance?
They've been looking for a receiver since the middle of the summer.
No, but I'm talking about Wilson. I mean, he played well.
He looked healthy. He looked healthy.
He looked healthy. He looked lighter.
Yeah.
You know.
it was a heck of a move to do that after the big win, but it worked.
What's it take to throw up jump balls to Pickens, huh? Shoot.
Pickens is good, and they're still looking for another guy. Yeah, Cooper Kupp to that team, and I'm going to get a lot more interested because that defense is legit.
Came back in great shape, man.
Yeah,
He's in great shape.
Better. Thanks to the folks here at Mike Anderson for being our guest, being our host today. Tomorrow we are at Roca Pizzeria on Government Street, just in the middle of Mid-City. For Jimmy and Jordan, I'm Charles Hanniger saying thank you and good afternoon. Stay tuned for Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.